Also the short in it. Yay! Hello everyone. Ah, I am refreshed. I just had a little nap. I didn't really sleep, but I laid down and rested for a while because I had to get up early and babysit for 2.5 hours so Emma could sleep a little longer before she took her shift babysitting our neighbor's little 6-month-old baby, Luca. So I didn't sleep as late as I normally would. So I was tired. Today is day 4 of our challenge. 5 steps to becoming a great homeschool parent. Day 1 was about don't do school at home. Don't do it like schools do it. Don't do homeschooling the way that schools do it because we don't need to. And there are so many ways we can customize our curriculum and how we do things in homeschooling that make it way different from public school or classroom. It's not just public school, it's any kind of a classroom situation. So don't do school as if you have a classroom full of kids of the same age and a bunch of kids to keep track of their grades and their attendance and all of that. We don't have to do that in homeschooling. We just have our own kids to take care of. It's more of a tutoring type of experience. Day 2 was about watching for signs of readiness. So I talked about how you can tell when your child is ready to learn the next skill and how you can offer the next thing, the next step, or what seems to be appropriate for their age. But if they're not ready for it, you can tell. And don't push it and don't force it, and keep beating your head against the wall or causing them dismay because you are expecting something from them they just aren't capable of yet. Day 3 was about determine the learning styles of your children, and I went through the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic learner, and then I talked about some of the different ways that Diana Waring says that people learn in different ways. The feeler, the thinker, the intuitor, and what was her other one? She has like different strokes for different folks. That was the intuitor. And then, you use different learning styles in different situations, and you put them all together, and a lot of learning takes place. But it's good to oh, my back's been hurting. It's good to build your curriculum and mold the way you do things with your kids and your homeschool day and your routine and all of that. Build it around what works best for you and your children and what is most conducive to their being able to pick it up and to learn and to absorb the new information or the new skill. They have to practice, and so we need to keep our expectations realistic so that when they are practicing, when they are first learning something, we adapt our expectations to where they're starting out from, and we are patient with them. We are understanding that it's difficult at first, and we are able to tell if they're really trying, if they're just trying to get out of it, not wanting to do it just because they don't want to, they're not in the mood. We can tell that too. But you can usually gauge if they are really, really trying, and it's really frustrating them, and it's just something they're not ready to do, not able to do yet. Like with my boys, and they're squeezing the pencil too hard or pressing too hard on the paper. Sometimes I would get so frustrated, and the older I got and the more experience I had with it, the more patient I got. Hey, Patty. Thank you. Thanks for coming on again. So, uh, I learned with my younger kids that I needed to be more patient. So I got better at it as I got more experience with working with my own children. It seems it was a little different working with my own children compared to working with the kids in public school, because I felt like they should know how to do this. They're old enough. That I could do this easily. And with my own kids, I was more impatient. But with other kids, I was like more understanding and more patient. So as time went on, and as I had more kids of my own, and I was teaching them, I loosened up my expectations and relaxed more about it. Because with my first, I thought I had to go by the book. I had to do discipline exactly right, or he was going to turn out terrible. And he was just not going to be able to behave correctly if I didn't discipline every little thing he did. And I read all the books and everything, and I went by the book as much as I could, but Shawn didn't. He didn't read the book, or he read a different book or something. And so I started to see then that I couldn't just expect him or my child to just follow right along with the theories of behavior and reinforcement and all of that. And they just weren't going to do it perfectly, and I wasn't going to be perfect at disciplining either. And so I also learned that with homeschooling, that there would be gaps in their learning. There would be things that are um, that I don't do correctly and that I don't handle right, but the kids are going to be okay, and God has my back. That's pretty much what saved my sanity. Was I knew that God was going to make up for my lack and for my shortcomings in raising my children, and they are His children, really. He is the one who made them, and um, I'm noticing now I have guitars behind me, and Gary was here. Of course, this is his place, but yeah, his stuff is kind of around now today. But I'm going to go ahead and start. Yeah, I've already been on for 8 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and start on today's lesson. Um, I'm doing today's lesson on choosing the right curriculum, and then later on today, Shawn, my son Shawn, my oldest son, and his wife Brandy will be coming probably around 3 o'clock today. So we'll do a bonus session with them about what Shawn thinks about homeschooling, and how it has affected his life, and his wife Brandy will be telling about how the things that she sees about him that are so unique because of the way he was brought up and homeschooled and everything. So that should be a very entertaining, very informative, fun time. Shawn is a great talker, so that'll be good. But for now, let's talk about choosing the right curriculum. And I put in the group that the way a lot of people think of how they choose homeschool curriculum is they research and research, and they look at all the different kinds of curriculum, and there is tons of it. This is Rainbow Resource Catalog, Rainbow Resource Center, and curriculum guide and catalog. And this is only this thick now, but it used to be this thick. It was like a phone book. It was, how do you show that? It was really thick before and heavy, and they have trimmed it way down. And of course, it's online too. You can look online for all the different books, but it's fun to have the physical copy. So I always get the physical copy every year. But there is so much curriculum for homeschoolers. You know, people who haven't been into the homeschool world have no idea what they're missing. It is so fun to look through all of these books, but you know, the problem is you want to get them all. This All About Reading is a really good program for phonics and beginning reading. I have tried several of these. I've seen a lot of them because I used to do those assessments for homeschoolers. I haven't tried Phonics Museum, Veritas Phonics. That's probably good. You get to know the different publishers after a while. I know the ones that have been around for a long, long time because I've been around homeschooling for quite a while myself. Uh, but I see some new ones that I haven't seen before, and they look pretty good. There are different literature programs. Wow, there's a lot of literature in here. Writing research papers. There's writing programs, which, like I told you, I've never used a writing curriculum with any of my kids. Paragraph writing. Oh, there's so much here. Memoria Press. I haven't used them, but I've seen it and it's good. Handwriting. But I like to use Getty Dubay handwriting, which teaches italic. It's right here. Getty Dubay italic handwriting. Italic handwriting is more like cursive from the start, except it's not really cursive. It's just that it's slanted. The letters are slanted instead of trying to get them to go straight up and down, because that's hard for young children to go straight up and down. And they're going to be transitioning to making a more slanted type of writing anyway. So Getty Dubay has more of a slant and more of a rounded curving type of writing, and it looks nice. Even the printing looks nice. So I have always had my kids use italic handwriting with Getty Dubay. There, you can probably see that now. And I have liked the way my kids' handwriting has turned out for the most part. Some of my boys, their handwriting just kind of, they're never happy with it. I say as long as it's legible, that's all that matters. And we just get the workbooks and they work through A, B, C, D, and some get to the workbook E. And my girls who have used it, their handwriting has turned out very nice. So the first thing I want you to think about curriculum is it's a servant. You are the master. You don't just have to do everything that a curriculum book tells you to do. Let me grab this one. I told you yesterday about Diana Waring. She wrote this book and several others about just the whole homeschooling experience all around, and she's got the learning styles in that book, and she also wrote this curriculum for history, Romans, reformers, and revolutionaries, for that era of history, and this was Ancient Civilizations by Diana Waring. And so curriculum is your servant. You are the master. So, like, see, this is written by Diana Waring, it says down there. It's hard to see it. So this is Ancient Civilizations and the Bible. And we've read some from it. I've got a little bookmark in there to show where we were at. But she's got like a story part to read. And this part tells about one of the first human tragedies after the fall was the brokenness of relationship between Cain and Abel. Genesis 4. And so she talks about the Bible. She talks about the flood, Noah's Ark. So she's teaching history, but this ancient history is the early days of creation and things that happened in the Bible. So it's kind of a Bible study, really. It starts out that way anyway. And then she has this student self-evaluation. Some might want to do that. I don't care about doing that, so I won't do that. She's got all of these different ideas for things you can do to extend the lesson. Research and reporting, and then she covers those learning styles. You can investigate, you can use music, you can study genealogies, you can make a chart, do metallurgy for those kinesthetic learners. So she gives you all these ideas for things you can do to extend the lesson and complement it and go further on with it. And you can choose to do one or two or a bunch of them or none of them. It's up to you. You're the teacher. You get to decide. And you can decide according to what you know your kids like to do. Here's a timeline. I like timelines, and we have done timelines before. This would be pretty easy to put the events in for when the things happened in BC history. And so she gives you some things to consider putting on your timeline here. So we might do that. Here's words to watch. Here's some vocabulary words. It is so hard to know which way to go. There's some vocabulary words, and you could have them, look them up, and you could have them write them and write the definition. Sometimes there's just so much busy work. You could have them just write the words that they need to learn that they don't know yet, or words that you can pick some of those. So a lot of words. That's a lot. So you can pick like 10 of them that you want them to learn that you think they will be using later on, and some mapping. I like doing the maps too. So we might do the maps, we might do the timeline. Art appreciation. If you have artistic children, that would probably be something they would want to do. You can kind of give them a choice if they want to do it or not. Do it yourself flood. So you get some science in there. Do it yourself flood. Have your kids make a flood in a bottle. Here's music, here's cooking. So this is a great curriculum. I love this curriculum. Student self-evaluation. Now you might want to do that. You might really think that's a great thing. To me, that's not necessary. And then this, she has like an introduction. She does these in phases, and so it's a great curriculum, but I would probably, honestly, just read the selections that she wrote in here about the parts of history. That's how I would use this curriculum, even though she has filled it chock full of these great ideas and lesson extension activities and all this stuff. I will kind of look over it. I might do a little bit of the mapping, might do some timelines, because I think that helps them remember really well. All of those activities would help them remember, but for me, sometimes I just want to get the main story. The story is like the biggest thing to me, and then go on to the next story. So, but if you wanted to do some of those activities, that would be great. And it depends on your kids too. My kids haven't really cared about doing activities to go with whatever we were doing. So curriculum is a tool to help you guide your children in their learning journey. Some people don't even use a curriculum. And in a lot of subjects and a lot of the life, the way it's gone for us, I haven't been able to use a curriculum because I have been on the road and I've been in between houses, living in hotels for a while. And I couldn't lug around all of my curriculum. I did have a huge bag full of books, but it was hard in hotels and the kids were not really into it, and that was a difficult time in life anyway. But even now that I'm settled and have a place to put all my books, I don't really use a full curriculum of anything, but I will listen to these CDs sometimes, and I will have the kids write papers, and they have Wordly Wise vocabulary books that I have them use, and they seem to like those pretty well. So curriculum is a tool, and it just helps you. You don't have to be stuck in it. You don't have to feel like it's your master. You are the master. So when you're starting out with a young child, you don't need a formal curriculum until they're 6 years old or more, depending on the child. Many girls are ready to do book work earlier than boys. But close work is not really good for their eyes, for young children's eyes, and their eye-hand coordination takes a while to develop. So neat handwriting should not be expected for the first year or so. They really need to practice that. It takes a while. The first learning tools should be manipulatives like blocks, toys to build with, toys to fit into other things, toys to act out, dress up, and use imagination, art materials, paper, pencils, colored pencils, different kinds of paper, different colors of paper, crayons, paints, pastels, puzzles, kits, dolls, dishes, play kitchen, lots of things to pretend with. If you want to get books to help with phonics and early reading, I recommend simple books like Explode the Code for phonics, and early readers like Bob books are good. Usborne early readers are a good next step after the Bob books. I don't push a young child to read every day or to do phonics or anything every day. Some people are like, you have to be consistent or they don't get it. I think they get burnt out. It's just too easy to burn them out, and too easy for me to get burnt out if I try to do things too much, too often. Use the holidays to help teach history as your kids, even as while they're young, like Veterans Day yesterday. We actually did that prayer time that we prayed for the nation, and I talked with them a little bit about the people who have served our country and how we honor them on Veterans Day. So you can use the holidays that can be your lesson for the day for homeschooling. Whatever holiday you find out the background of it, why it was made a holiday, what it's celebrating, the symbols that go with it, and all of that. And you can do a lot with Christmas and all the different meanings and the different symbols and all of that for Christmas. That can make the whole month of December what you do for homeschool. Just talking about everything that has to do with Christmas, but where the first Christmas tree came from, and all of the things, that the jingle bells and everything, and the stories and the songs, the carols, everything. That's just, there's so much you can do with the holidays, with Thanksgiving, which is coming up. You can talk about how it became a holiday, you know, because that's quite a story. The lady that kept insisting, she wrote Abraham Lincoln a letter, and I can't think of her name right now, but Sarah, uh, she would not let it go until the government declared Thanksgiving a holiday. So there are picture books about that too. So you can read picture books about the holidays, and those make great lessons for your homeschool. Curriculum is a tool in your hands. You are to wield it with skill and precision to guide you in presenting topics in the most learnable way for your students. The goal is to help your child learn information, knowledge, and skills so that they remember it and they can add it to what they knew before and build on it to learn other related information. That was a big part of the whole language concept that I was taught in college, that they add new information to what they already had in place, and it like hooks on to the new information, hooks on to the old information they already had stored up inside. So many times this learning that you're trying to get your kids to do happens in a very natural way through real life experiences. So like curriculum is just helps with what to teach them, helps you know what to teach them, but in a lot of ways real life teaches them the things they need to know, the things they want to know. And so it can happen very naturally without a certain curriculum. For example, if you want a child to learn about fractions, I remember fractions being so hard for me to understand when my teachers first started trying to teach me about fractions. I had no clue. I had nothing to hook that new teaching onto at all. It didn't make any sense to me. So if you want a child to really learn about fractions, in real life, you can have them follow a recipe to cook something. Have them measure the ingredients with measuring spoons and measuring cups, and point out to your child that the spoons and cups nest in each other, and show them how the tablespoon is the biggest, then the teaspoon, then the 3/4 teaspoon, then the half teaspoon, then the fourth teaspoon, etc. And they're getting real life experience with those fractions and seeing how big they are relative to each other and how small they get as that number at the bottom gets bigger. You show how the measuring cups work the same way. Point out to your child that the 1 teaspoon is bigger than the 3/4, half, and fourth teaspoons, and the same way with the measuring cups. And they make connections so much easier that way with concrete, practical, useful projects than abstract pictures on a page or some silly story that doesn't mean anything to them. Be on the lookout for chances to teach concepts that open up naturally. Cooking is really a great way to teach math. Double recipes, triple them, quadruple them if you have 10 kids. If you have a big family, sometimes you do. I have had to quadruple recipes from my cookbook many times. And when I have the kids help me cook, I say, well, it says we need 1 cup of flour, but we're going to have to do 4 times as much, or not everybody's going to get a cookie. And so I say, let's do what is 4 times that 1 cup, and of course that one's easy. But what about half a cup? 4 times half a cup. So they get real work with fractions, and it helps them to understand that whole concept. Okay, so this is especially great and sometimes necessary if you have a big family or you want to freeze leftovers for future use. There's another great concept to teach: preparing and storing up for the future, right? And there are many real life ways to learn reading and writing. Reading in order to play a video game has been a big motivator for many of my children to learn to read. I just talked about that with my youngest daughter yesterday. Out of my 10 children, she was the only one who actually said to me, I don't want to learn to read. And I was making her do her phonics book anyway. I said, well, you have to do this phonics book. Whether you learn to read or not, you have to do the phonics book. You have to know the sounds that the letters make. And so she went through the phonics book, and she still kept saying all through it, I don't want to learn to read. And I said, okay, do your phonics book. And she started playing video games with the other kids. And this one, Pikmin, this game called Pikmin, that Morgan learned pretty much a lot of his math and being able to hold number in his head from. Well, Abby had to learn to read to play it because there were so many things that were written on the screen that told her what to do as moving along in the game, how to play the game. She had to be able to read. So she learned to read, whether she wanted to or not. So video games can really teach them a lot. They can be helpful, but you have to try to keep a balance on that. That's hard to do. They just want to play video games all the time. But reading in order to play a video game has been a big motivator for many of my children to learn to read. And many times they get some practice with manipulating numbers and understanding how numbers work. Reading to find out how to take care of a pet. Reading a recipe so they can make some yummy food that they want. Reading subtitles in a TV show or a movie. Reading signs to know where they are when the family takes a road trip, or someplace the child is excited to get to and wants to know how close they are. Are we there yet? You have them read the signs to see, and look at the map. That's how to teach map skills too, is on a road trip, have the kids look at a map and see where you are and how far you are from where you want to be and all that. That has worked really well for several of my kids for learning map skills. So real life is a good teacher, and you can use curriculum too, but you really ought to use every teachable moment that you can and just be teaching from everything that happens in life. Writing happens in real life too. Writing letters to friends and family, writing lists. Christmas lists especially are fun for kids, and they get their practice writing, doing that, and they want to do that because they want you to know what they want for Christmas. Writing stories. Some of mine have just sat down and started writing stories. Several of mine have done that. Writing a recipe, writing it out, and some of my kids make up recipes too and write them out. Writing notes to help you remember things that you want to remember forever, forever and ever. It helps to write it down, but sometimes you can still manage to forget. But writing notes helps a lot, helps you learn better and learn it deeper. Writing in a diary or journal. Writing a to-do list. Sometimes kids will incorporate writing into their imaginary play or games. One time, my kids played a game that involved two teams of pirates. That one group of them was upstairs, one group was downstairs, and they did this all on their own. I didn't assign them, I didn't suggest, I didn't know they were doing it. I just knew that they were having a lot of fun and laughing and everything. They were playing a game that involved two teams of pirates. Later I saw what they had been doing. They sent notes back and forth to each other, talking in pirate language, threatening and demanding booty, and calling each other hilarious names. I found their notes later and had a good laugh, shaking my head at their wit and humor and intelligence. They were so funny. I happen to give my kids lots of freedom and time to do whatever they want. I don't micromanage their time or try to manage their lives. They have a lot of independence within limits and choice to control their own time and what they choose to do each day. I have a few requirements that I consider necessities to take care of their own needs and to bless the family. I do some things to check on how they are doing and what they are learning, and insert some of the things I feel that they need to learn more about or get more practice with. And I provide a few books to help them keep moving forward in basic skills. It's after they get old enough to do things independently that I give them so much freedom, and that age differs with every child. And I'm not saying everyone should do it this way. I'm just presenting this as a way that you might choose to conduct your days so that you don't overdo and wear yourself out. I find this to be a sustainable way for me to handle so many students and so many years of doing this. Being a micromanager of everything your children do can make you weary and overwhelmed. And you risk frustrating or overwhelming your children with too much busy work that doesn't produce anything meaningful, and causing them to hate learning and set them up for bad associations with anything having to do with reading, gaining knowledge, learning, or so-called schooling. Always remember what the end goal is. You want your child to love learning and to become a lifelong learner. You want them to learn what they need to know for their life and future. You can combine this approach with any kind of curriculum you choose. You can use your curriculum as a spine and then add to it or take away according to the needs and interests of your child. You can use it as a guide for topics to learn more about and then learn it however you want. Use the library a lot when they open up again. There are tons of books to cover virtually any topic your child may be interested in. But remember, you are the teacher. You don't have a teacher standing over you telling you what to do. You decide what to teach. You decide how to use the curriculum. You are the master. The curriculum is the servant. You can follow it rigidly or loosely. But please be sensitive to the needs and preferences of your child. Some children need a lot of structure and support from someone else. Others need a lot of independence and control of their own learning process. Not every page has to be completed. Not every activity has to be done. Schools don't finish the whole book, and we don't have to either. They run out of time. We have to be careful not to get so caught up in our desire to do a good, thorough, complete job that we push our kids to do more than they really need to do. If they have the same desire, then it's okay to let them go at it. Let them do it their way. Some of the stuff the curriculum tells you to do is just busy work. Don't feel obligated to complete it all. Some, especially those that are designed with homeschoolers in mind, are intended to be a smorgasbord to choose from. The author never intended for you to do everything suggested. Choose the type of curriculum that works best for your child. That's the Diana Waring books are set up as a smorgasbord, and she will tell you herself, I just am giving you all kinds of ideas to choose from. I don't expect you to do them all. I would not really recommend that you do them all. You'll never move very far along in history if you do that. So that's how to look at your curriculum. Is you choose what you want, how you want to do it. You choose the type of curriculum you want to use, and keep that goal in front of you of leading your child toward independence. Keep the level comfortable and at a level so that your child can do much of it on his own, at his reading level, at his understanding level. Sometimes you may have to use a lower grade level of math so that your child can do it on his own with very little help from you. Because you're working with your other kids too, and if you've got them working at such a level that you have to be right beside them and help them with every problem, you're going to be trying to homeschool all day long, and that's not good for anybody. The review, if the math is easy for him, the review will be good for him. It won't hurt him. and it will probably build his confidence and self-esteem to be able to do it so well and easily. Unless your child is a more impatient type of person who would be bored and frustrated by that approach. Maybe he sees everything as something to be conquered and delights in every new challenge and works hard to overcome it and feels victorious when he has mastered a new skill or concept and then needs the next thing to go on to. Then you would use a different approach with that kind of a child. You need to know your child and adapt to his personality, his learning style, and his bent or interest. The child needs to feel that they are in charge of their learning. They need to feel that the knowledge they are obtaining is their own and is valuable and meaningful to their lives. And I have more, but I think I have said enough so far about curriculum, and the rest of this will be included in the e-course that I will be offering. So Gary, if you're ready, I started on an e-course quite a while ago, and Shawn and I made some videos to go along with what I taught, what I'm teaching in the e-course. And so the e-course has a lot of this information plus a lot more, and it's written, and then we also have videos that Shawn and I did to explain further and to give examples of how we did our homeschooling and what worked for him. And I guess Gary went somewhere. He was supposed to come and help me talk about my e-course. This is another type of curriculum. It's kind of similar to Diana Waring's, but it's called Heart of Dakota, and it's for the younger years. Diana Waring is probably more for junior high and high school. This will start with, I think, preschool. And yeah, they start out with Little Hearts for His Glory. And it's like unit studies. And she gives you, this is Beyond Little Hearts for His Glory. And then we have Bigger Hearts for His Glory. So these are the primary grades. And I'm not sure if she goes up. I think she might go up through middle school. She's got some Revival to Revolution resources. They look nice. I like the style. She's got a student notebook, pages here. So it's a nice curriculum. I know a lot of people have used it. She has the Reading Teacher's Guide here. So this is Heart of Dakota, and it's a good unit study. And I believe she uses living books. I still need to give you the definition of living books. She's got some of these books like I was showing you that YWAM publishes. Lillian Trasher, that's a really good one. I read that with my older kids. You cannot see it. It doesn't focus. And other suggested world history resources, world geography resources, books that you can read, living books. Yeah, she kind of uses living books as the way that she has you learn these different things about history. So I love that part of this. Heart of Dakota is good. There's one that's similar to this, and right now I can't think of what it's called. And I looked that one up just the other day too. But there are, and this is Christ-centered, so there are different Christian curriculum and Diana Waring is also Christian. There are more secular types of curriculum. A lot of math is just math, but some math is biblically based, and we'll talk about how things stay in order because God put them in order, and math works because God keeps things going the way He holds everything together and makes everything work together as it should, and according to patterns, and you can trust those patterns to stay the way they are because God is he never sleeps and He keeps everything going. Gary. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you is I talked about how you can do a diploma yourself. You can have a diploma made by homeschooldiploma.com, and I had this one made for Shawn. I chose this Scholarship Character Excellence in Home Education Diploma of Graduation because he needed one for the job that he got. Nice little sheet of tissue paper. Safe Haven Academy. See, it looks like a real diploma because it is. It's a real diploma. I know that he did all the work he needed to do to graduate from high school. I signed it. Gary signed it. We put the seal on there. Or the seal was on there. You get to choose the wording. So I had it say, Safe Haven Academy, whereas our son, Shawn Cameron Douglas, has not only mastered a body of knowledge pursuant to a high school education, but has also demonstrated godly wisdom and personal maturity based upon faith in Jesus Christ, we, his parents, present him with this high school diploma. It is evidence that he has fulfilled all requirements for graduation and is given with confidence that he is equipped by the grace of God to meet the challenges of life as an adult. Dated this 24th day of May 2009. And then we even have a scripture on here. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. So you can get your own diploma made. It was like $50, I think. And I like how it turned out. I also had one made for another one of my kids, but most of them have not needed a diploma. Gary! I want him to help me talk about the e-course. He's been working on the videos, editing the videos that Shawn and I made, in which we discussed these types of topics. The readiness, the stages of development, the don't do school at home, choosing curriculum, and readiness. These things, the basics of reading and homeschooling is what my course is called, and it's really good. It's full of all kinds of helpful information. If you want to have more, go a little deeper in the learning theory and how kids learn best, and the things that we have done as a family, the things that we have found that worked for us, and even some of the anecdotal stories of how I have taught my kids different things, and just things that have been I can't believe he's not here yet, have been serendipitous things that happen that I didn't plan, and that's pretty much how it's always been for me. I have a fly flying in front of me. If I went cross-eyed there, I'm sorry. It was flying right at me. But that's when I'm at the library a lot of times, or when I did go to the library when it was open, I would just walk along and look at the titles of the books, which I love doing, and just something would stand out to me, and I would remember, oh, I saw that title in this curriculum guide, or in a Sunlight curriculum is a really neat curriculum too. I have a catalog for them somewhere around here, but I would take my Sunlight curriculum um, catalog with me to the library, and sometimes I had just already poured over it for so long that I had titles memorized, and I would walk along the shelves in the library, and I would see one of the titles I recognized, and I would grab that off of the shelf excitedly, and that's how a lot of times a whole unit would come together while I was just walking along the shelves, by the shelves in the library. I would see related books about whatever topic, and all of a sudden I would know, oh, that's the topic we're supposed to study right now. That's how it has happened for me much of the time in our years of homeschooling. So, I don't know where he is. I don't think he's going to come. So, my e-course will be, I'll start putting a link in here in the group for that. If you're interested in learning more about how we have homeschooled all these years, 24 years now, and the go deeper into the learning styles and then the things that I talked a little bit about during this challenge, I will be giving you information about how to get a hold of that e-course, and then I also will do one-on-one mentoring for anyone who wants some of more of accountability, some guidance. I have helped a lot of people. If you went to my landing page, which I don't think anybody in the group had to go to my landing page because I just told you how to get into this group, but I show a lot of the recommendations from the people that I have helped. I've helped them pick out curriculum. I've helped them know how to transition from classroom teaching and from having their kids in public school to homeschooling them, and how to just do the I forget the word again. The thing they have to have at the end of the year. Transcript. I've helped a lot of people, and I also have their names written in our Safe Haven Homeschooling Facebook group. Gary, I need you now.
Sorry.
I've been calling you for hours.
I can't hear you.
Well, you were supposed to stay close this time.
I was working out.
Okay, so
I was working.
my e-course. I've already told them a little bit about my e-course. Yes.
Okay.
So you need to tell them more because you
more.
are more
Okay.
familiar with
Okay.
the videos
Okay.
because you've been
No problem.
editing them. So here's Gary.
Okay. Oh, clash. Whiteboard markers in the way. Marker landmines. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm sure she's already introduced me, so I won't.
He's my husband.
Yeah, that'll work.
He's my little husband.
Yeah, the seat's set down into the floor. You'll roll the chair across the floor and get knee burns on.
I'm taller when we're sitting down, and your chair's way down.
It's like I don't need to guess who's driven the car either. When
Hey, I don't move it anymore. Yeah, I just have to sit way back and hold my arms straight out to drive now.
Okay. Real quick, for those of you who are out there and those of you that may eventually tune in, just to let you all know, this course is something that it's been in the works for relatively about a year now. This is
going on 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
We've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah, this has been one heck of an ongoing project, and it's not in its preliminary stage. It's actually not pre-production but post-production, and although that it will not have its lower thirds, in other words the eye candy, both for memorization and location where you're at in the video, aside having to look at the timeline. It's not probably not going to have the introduction, which it's a give and take. It's not necessary because you're going to find the content to be phenomenal. Um, Let me just say right off the bat, uh, not just for those of you that are out there, but for those that may end up signing in on this and reviewing this recording. Um, when I consider anything a purchase or a value, I consider things by measurements that I know that are universal, because that's hard to fail with when something is infallible, to determine whether something you're looking at has any value and whether or not that it will actually fulfill whatever the function it's supposed to do. Um, I have seen other instructional material that's out there involving homeschooling. Some of it was really good. However, the price tag was excessive and seemed to be promoting a particular curriculum. Interesting enough. I've seen some others that I mean, if they ran to be some kind of leader of their own private island or something, I mean somewhere, if they bought a big piece of land, they definitely, everybody would say yay, they just vote for them and make them king or queen or whatever, because they have that unbeatable personality. And I've learned that myself. I've learned that despite how good someone is and how well they may talk a game, if you can't get a particular time with them, if you can't get closure, if you can't get the specific answer that you're looking for, then usually what you're seeing is just that. They got a lot of personality, wonderful to be around, but there's no substance. Uh, I think you're going to find, if you purchase this course that my wife has, you're going to find out that all these sessions, whether or not that they pertain specifically to your child or not, are going to be a bonus to you, are going to be a benefit to you, because it's going to kick in some of that critical thinking. And you're going to realize that perhaps there's something else that you can do, you can change if you are homeschooling, what you can add to what you've got. And if you haven't got started, you're going to feel a lot more confident, and you're going to feel a lot more better about what you're getting into, what you're doing. Taking up and teaching teaching your own child is about as a big major move as making the decision to spend the rest of your life with somebody in matrimony, and just as equivalent as what you decide to do with your own life, what you choose as far as your own destiny. Um, it's that serious, it's that heavy, and it's nothing that we take lightly at all. Um, Again, in reference to that, you'll find that my wife is not fluff. Um, she may not be the shining personality to take over an island, some tropico somewhere. However, you will find that she is knowledgeable, she's easygoing, she's pleasant to listen to, and she has the experience. Like I said, one thing I consider about any leadership, anyone that offers anything, are usually three things. Number one, do they have character? Are they credible? If that answer is yes, well, okay, that's great. Now here comes the second big swing. Uh, the content, or whatever it is that they're offering, is it, has it been proven? Is it any good? Or, or is what they're on, on a short list somewhere, and what they've got is not maintainable. It's not going to continue functioning like it should, or it won't at all. Okay, if it is good, here comes the third and final. Can they um, can they arbitrate? Can they display? Can they lead? Do they have the innate ability to teach, to instruct, uh, to you know, to portray, to give that knowledge, to transfer that knowledge, that information, I should say, to transfer that information, that knowledge in such a way that's beneficial to me. Uh, that's not hard for me to accept. And you'll find that all three my wife covers. Um, I've seen some others out there that, like I said again, their personality is incredible. It's really fun to listen to them. But then when I realized, well, wait a minute, they're talking about homeschooling and they just get started. Their kids are like, in the very beginning stages. And I'm thinking, that's probably pretty good for that specific age group, but, to take it on further from that time, I mean, I no, to me, if you have worked, like for example, you say you know about aircraft and you never worked on a jet engine, never worked on a plane, I am not going to be too privy to receive your words of wisdom. Uh, Same thing for here, where my wife has taught and is still teaching some of our kids. We have 10. Uh, the outcome, they say, you shall know a tree by its fruit, out of an ancient document, specifically written in the gospel. The fruit would be our children, and they're the oldest is like 28, I do believe.
29.
29. Wow. And the others, they're younger and in their 20s. We have two of our children that are married, and the rest, a lot of them are still living at home, and they're in transition. Except for one of our other, Patrick, he's doing his own thing, and he's finally finding his way. Um, our children are not byproducts of being lemmings. They're our leaders. Uh, Everywhere they go, whatever they put themselves to, whatever job they get into, they're promoted. They're well liked, and you know, without a shadow of a doubt, for those that even stopped and talked to Penny or me, uh, let us know that they were very impressed with our son or daughter. That worked with them, and that's I think that's admirable. I think that's definitely something quantitative, that you can state, well, there's your evidence. Something must be right. A lot of them, they haven't made $1 million yet, for whatever your measure of success is. However, I do believe they are in transition of finding their way. Again, out of an ancient document, it states and says that if you train up a child in the way they should go, when they're old, they will not depart from it. I'm sure those of you of age remember that there came a time where you had to figure out what it is that you really believe in, and what it is that you needed to come to know, to what was beneficial to your life and what wasn't. Everyone goes to that stage, and our kids have gone through that stage themselves, and they're coming out of it. And some of them have already come out of it. And again, they're leaders. They're successful at whatever they put their hands to, and you know, good luck in trying to sway them from what they know to be the truth or fact. You know, they're not led to be conformists at all. Again, they're leaders, and I think you'll find the material that my wife presents to be worth the money, worth your time, and to be impactful. And if you are having problems and you are homeschooling, I do believe it will give you answers to making it enjoyable instead of being such a chore, which it shouldn't be. Anything that we do with our family, anything that should be based on principle or law, that have reward, anything that requires commitment, dedication, there should be something you should look forward to. And if not, then you need to question what in the world's wrong. So if you're looking for answers, you're looking for solutions, or you're looking just to get started and feeling confident and knowing that what you're doing is going to be impactful to your child's future, then I think you'll find my wife's content to be more than sufficient and satisfactory. I do believe that you will find it to be life-changing, both for yourself and for your child or your children. So,
Thank you, Gary. All right, so I will be putting the link in for that later today. and I will be talking with Shawn, and he will probably be able to tell you some about the e-course too. And we'll talk with Brandy, his wife, also. So thank you for joining today. We will be talking with Shawn and Brandy probably around 3 o'clock. They have to drive 2 hours to get here, so they hadn't left yet, last I heard. So, but they said they were going to try to be here around 3 o'clock Central Time. But our topic for tomorrow, which will be our last day of the challenge, day 5, you are qualified. You can do this. You can homeschool your own children. You can teach your own children at home. So that is what I will be talking about tomorrow at noon Central. So hope to see some of you then. Thank you, Patty, for coming on with me. And I will see everyone later at 3 o'clock Central Time today. Bye.